Good morning. Good morning, puppy face. Good morning.
Super important when you're working on helping a horse be happier at feeding time is making sure that you don't have a crappy attitude back, right? Because if you have a crappy attitude and negative energy and you're yelling at them and, you know, swinging your arms at them and all that does is just up the ante and increases the energy level. It doesn't help anything at all, right? And so you just want to make sure no matter how crappy they are, you don't want to necessarily accidentally reinforce bad behavior, of course, but you do want to just try to keep a pleasant attitude and kind of keep things light and happy. So again, being able to put a little bit of food in there at a time keeps her from feeling like, oh, she gets all the food and then she just like takes over, right? So that when I do go to reach for her or do something positive is coming out of it because she's getting a little more food. Good girl. So let's see what happens if I stop touching her. Does she keep on kicking? Does she keep on doing that? Or is that she doesn't want me this close? Or is that just because she's used to being grumpy at feeding time? And that's what she does. We don't know the answer to that yet, so we'll only know that by really being cognizant of what she's doing and watching over time and seeing how it shifts and changes. Good. So basically what you've seen over the past few days and what you'll continue to see over the next couple of days will be some baseline, right? And then we'll really start changing what I do based on what she does. But right now I'm just trying to see what we've got. And this is getting better, I have to say. There she kind of slung her head, kind of like that's enough probably, touching me. So I'll back off and just be in her presence. Maybe just move right there even. And there are flies in her defense. But the point is that me being right up on top of her while she's eating, she doesn't love, right? She's very much a resource guarder. And so by me being here, that probably makes her a little uncomfortable. I'm not going to get so close to her that it makes her furious, right? But I am going to be close enough that my presence is here so we start to habituate her to it and she kind of gets classically conditioned from me being close to her while she's eating. Now there are quite a few flies and gnats and things like that, so I have to give her a little credit there. But she is putting her ears back in the moment there a little bit when she kicks her belly, which is interesting. Is she just checking out what's going on behind her, or is she really, you know, irritated? I can't totally tell there because the sheet was covering her ears up, but now we can see them a little better. So she's very aware of the cameraman being behind her, camera lady being behind her. She's very aware of me being close to her. And see, even my breath right there disturbed her. Could you see that? I took a deep breath and she was disturbed. So I definitely don't want to move any closer or touch her or do anything. And I might take even a little step back. So there I took a deep breath and she didn't pick her head up when I took a little step back from her. So I would say that's kind of a baseline comfort level for her right now. I don't probably need to be any more in her sphere until she's pretty comfortable with me here, breathing, moving, shifting my weight, doing things like that before I try to move closer. Good girl, Mama. Yes. Good girl, yes. And it's just one of those things. You just have to watch and see if you can piece together what's happening in the environment, in the context, and her behavior. See if you can make a connection and see if you can try to see what connections she may be making. It's only an educated guess. Good. Yes, good girl. I'm just getting her used to those two words. She doesn't necessarily know either one of them as a solid bridge. She probably knows good a little better than yes, but I'm not positive. She seems to have a little bit of knowledge of both of those, but neither seems to be extremely strong yet, based on her past history. Yes, good girl. Way better than what we had in the first few days. I hate that we don't have the very first few days on video. What a good girl. Good. Yes. And a lot of it, when you're using a bridge signal, you also want to think about is a lot about tone more than it is the exact word you use. You know, I could say Chris, which is my husband's name, in the same tone that I use those words. And a lot of times you'll get the exact same response that you would have if you'd used a bridge word. It's a lot about tone. Good girl, yes. Good girl, Mama. All right, so I'm super pleased with that. So there's Sophie and her feeding today. So I'm gonna walk by her here, see what happens there. Good, really nice. Come back, get out of her space. I'm not gonna keep myself next to her constantly, like holding the hook to the hot burner, right? I'm just gonna make a little move. This would have sent her over the edge on day 1 and 2, right? I would have been afraid of getting kicked for sure.